Clyde, Yorkshire AM Radio. We have a great show for you tonight. We're going to share some very interesting information with you today. Now, we're going to do the reporting, and you're going to be the ones to decide what you get from this report. We're not going to necessarily talk about the war, because I don't think at this time it would behoove anybody to talk about the war. However, you may notice that many people are talking about the effects that is going to damage your personal life, your family, your ability to get to and fro from work. Many people are mobile now, or hybrids, if you will, and not going into work because they can't afford the gas. Many countries are creating this avenue for people to stay at home and work. Now, tonight we're going to talk about the China yuan and the New World Order, the chess pieces that are moving, and why many Americans don't understand what is going on in the world. While many Americans are so confused about how the world really works. Also, many Americans are not educated to different currencies, much less our own. Most Americans have no idea how our currency work, what our currency is attached to, how does our currency get printed, what does the Federal Reserve have to do. Well, we're going to discuss some interesting topics and let you decide, where do you think America sits? Because it makes no sense to educate people when they don't even know what the hell is going on to start with. It would be like explaining to somebody what is like to visit a country overseas and they've never left their own neighborhood. They would just have to use their imagination, never really being able to grasp what you're talking about, or trying to get somebody to imagine how God is, or what he looks like, or how he operates. Again, just using their imagination, going wherever it can take them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, again, most Americans have never heard of the dirham, the ruble. They've never heard of the yuan. And again, many of them have no idea how the American currency works. So again, they don't even know if the war or what we're dealing with economically, if America is coming out on top with our strategies, or if we're sinking. Now, again, I'm going to walk you through a couple of constructs, and I want to see if you're smart enough to pick out how dangerous of a third rail we're on. Now, welcome to the show. You are on AM radio. You are with the best podcast that is up and coming, up and rising, and because of you, we're making lots of headway. We appreciate your support, your likes, your subscription. And I know many of you prefer the video, but what you're going to learn very quickly is I'm a great speaker and I'm much more relaxed and comfortable when I'm off camera. And I give more information. Now, what would you prefer? To look at me and hear minimum and minimize information, or would you like to get the real deal? And this is what people used to do: sit down, listen to their radio, and that's how you got all of your news. In fact, people were more informed when they was listening to radio versus television and the fake news. Now, ladies and gentlemen, most Americans think, especially persons who are part of the MAGA movement, that we are just out there crushing them. And unfortunately, like Jack and the Beanstalk, they're going to learn that there are giants in this world that you know nothing about. And you're probably 120 billion% wrong. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the United States, for many, many moons, have appreciated and enjoyed the new order, or the present structure of things after World War II. Europe used to be part of this deal. They were like in our gang, if you will. They were some of the OGs who got privileges to sell their goods and services and get passports and access the American global market and all of its benefits for many, many years. And then slowly but surely, those things begin to erode. Not only were they starting to pay higher taxes and shipping fees, they were actually at some point not even paying for their military service. Talk about getting over. But that seems to be over now. In fact, it seems that Trump argues with Europe more than any other countries. And it also seems like our old alliances are just not holding up the way that they used to. Take, for instance, the quagmire that we're in now. Europe has not showed up to show their unwavering support. To the contrary, Europe has stayed out of what is going on tremendously. Now, if you think you've heard something yet, I am going to shake your Tootsie Rolls. If I was you, I would sit down and listen to what is about to be said. I assure you this will be a wonderful rated R movie, the likes of which you have never heard thus far. There's no need to talk about Benjamin Netanyahu. There's no need to talk about Israel and what Trump will do. See, most Americans have been focusing on Israel and Trump next move, waiting like puppies or the GCC countries so they can make their next move. Take, for instance, Saudi Arabia. They want to know, when is this war going to end, how far you plan to go, because we're hosting your military bases and we're backing up your dollar. So we deserve to be part of your idea of what you're going to do. Countries like Oman and UAE, who have been fastly becoming Trump's new gang members. France, on the other hand, have been told to take a hike. Spain, and we've seen this in the past. America's original clans and buddies usually turn out, if they do not follow what the big dog says, to become either our enemy or we just don't fool with you like that no more. Great Britain has taken more slander, if you will, or criticism, disses by this president. Shockingly enough, the only ally of America seems to be Israel. Now, again, let's not focus on what Trump is doing. Let's not focus on what Israel is doing. Let us just focus on what the rest of the world is doing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we speak, America was preparing for its own version of the New World Order. Most Americans in their own border, that's all they focus on. They have no clue what China's moves are, Russia moves are, Saudi Arabia's moves are, Pakistan. In fact, we don't even know too much about any of these countries, and we couldn't even find them on a map. All we're concerned with is whatever America says. Common sense, we know that's not the way the world works. In fact, what NATO has to say, France, Spain, UAE, this is